April 24th, 2016, 5th Sunday of Easter.
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. After Paul and Barnabas had proclaimed the good news to that city and made a considerable number of disciples, they returned to Lystra and to Iconium and to Antioch. They strengthened the spirits of the disciples and exhorted them to persevere in the faith, saying, "It is necessary for us to undergo many hardships to enter the kingdom of God." They appointed elders for them in each church, and with prayer and fasting commended them to the Lord in whom they had put their faith. Then they traveled through Pisidia and reached Pamphylia. After proclaiming the word at Perga, they went down to Attalia. From there they sailed to Antioch, where they had been commended to the grace of God for the work they had now accomplished. And when they arrived, they called the church together and reported what God had done with them and how he had opened the door of faith to the Gentiles. The word of the Lord.
I will praise your name forever, my King and my God. I will praise your name forever, my King and my God. The Lord is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and of great kindness. The Lord is good to all and compassionate toward all his works. I will praise your name forever, my King and my God. Let all your works give you thanks, O Lord, and let your faithful ones bless you. Let them discourse of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might. I will praise your name forever, my King and my God. Let them make known your might to the children of Adam, and the glorious splendor of your kingdom. Your kingdom is a kingdom for all ages. Your dominion endures through all generations. I will praise your name forever, my King and my God.
A reading from the book of Revelation. Then I, John, saw a new heaven and a new earth. The former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I also saw the holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Behold, God's dwelling is with the human race. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will always be with them as their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death or mourning, wailing or pain, for the old order has passed away." The one who sat on the throne said, "Behold, I make all things new." The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. When Judas had left them, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. I give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord.
April 24th, the fifth Sunday of Eastertide. The first reading comes from Acts of the Apostles, chapter 14, verses 21 to 27. We hear that Paul and Barnabas are traveling around, and they're trying to encourage the disciples, telling them that they would have to experience many hardships before they entered the kingdom of God. It's important to remember that our being a Christian is not simply a question of arriving in paradise. We also have to carry the cross. As one preacher I know says, Good Friday comes before Easter Sunday, and so we have to be willing to suffer for the sake of the kingdom. Now, that suffering sometimes comes in terms of persecution, but most often it comes in terms of having to pay the price of love, having to love those who seem unlovable, having to forgive that which seems unforgivable. When they finally arrive at Antioch, they're able to share the good news about how God has opened a door to the pagans. Now, that was something new because, remember, there weren't all that many pagans who were Christians at this point. In fact, most of them were God-fearers, people who already had a disposition towards the Jewish faith. But Paul and Barnabas were able to speak to pure pagans, largely because they had been thrown out of the synagogue, where they first tried to preach to the Jews. So notice how they took a disaster as an opportunity for grace. The second reading comes from the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verses 1 to 5. John sees a new heavens and a new earth. First of all, notice that there's no sea here, because the sea was considered to be a reservoir of evil, so it doesn't appear in this new order. There's a new heavens and a new earth. When we rise from the dead, something of that which we experienced here on earth will continue. It'll be purified, it'll be transformed, but it will not be annihilated. So everything that taught us about God here on earth, song, dance, pets, music, all these good things will somehow continue. And heaven is not simply you and me, Jesus. It's a society, it's a city descending from the heavens. But notice it's descending from the heavens. As much as we try to build a utopia with our own strength, we will never realize it. We'll always be frustrated. The society that is perfect, that is the kingdom, has to descend from the heavens. And in that society, everything that was promised in Trido Isaiah, no tears, no sadness, will be fulfilled. Because now, everything will be pure. We'll be able to love as we always wanted to love. And our love won't be frustrated by the confusion of everyday life. The Gospel is from John 13, 31 to 33, and 34 to 35. Jesus speaks about the fact that he's been glorified. The word glorified is not power or magnificence. It's the outpouring of love. At the Last Supper, Jesus washed the feet of the disciples, which was a prefiguring of the service that he would perform upon the cross. That is Jesus' glory. We should remember that because when we speak about the glories of heaven, it's not that we're assigned 2 angels with ostrich feather fans and 2 angels to peel grapes and drop them in our mouth. Rather, the love that was expressed in the washing of feet, the love that was expressed on the cross, will somehow continue for all eternity. That is our goal. Not a selfish paradise, but rather somewhere where we can give of ourselves more and more. We have a new commandment: we should love one another. And notice how that's put in context of glory. Because when we love each other, when we give of ourselves to each other, that is our glory. The greatest reward God ever gave us is the ability to love and serve others. And the reward for that is the ability to love and serve. Because when we do that, we are in God's image and likeness. God is love. God is the one who called his Son to die for us on the cross. Therefore, to be God-like, we have to love as much as he loved. And may God bless us.